Welcome everyone to the Consultancy Corner, where we're going to dive into the background and the stuff you don't usually talk about and hear about in the professional services industry. I'm very, very happy to say I'm here with Ian Christelow. Thanks for joining me, Ian.
Thank you.
So, Ian, I think in order to give our viewers and listeners some context, do you want to give us a little bit of a elevator on who you are and what you do?
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Okay. I'm the chairman and co-founder of ActionCOACH UK. So I've been involved in that business for over 21 years, and literally the first person in the UK to get involved. So massive that is. We've got over a couple of hundred business coaches helping UK business owners grow, and we need a lot more, and we need to do a lot more because the results of our clients are amazing.
Exactly. And I've been involved in the coaching industry for what, 9 or 10 years. You've been involved over double that. What You must have seen the industry change. What was it like when you first started? How has the industry evolved in the last 20 or so years?
Yeah, good question. I mean, the initially the all of our marketing was geared up around the biggest question in terms of what's a business coach. So it was all the differences between a management consultant and a business coach, and explaining that management consultants were more about delivering plates of fish, and we were more about teaching business owners how to fish for themselves. So that would be the main difference. I guess also, when I got started, I started off working for Brad Sugars and recruiting 12 regional developers for the UK. My big question to Brad was, why 12?
Mm-hmm.
Because I got the job based on experience. I built the first franchise for the Pearson Group, Direct English, along with three other people. I was like sort of one of four founder members of that franchise, and we successfully put that into 10 countries around the world, and sold it to the Linguaphone Group. Pearson did, and with Direct English, we went one country at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So we awarded the rights to an entire country, and supported that one party. Brad's answer was, the guy's a bit of a genius. There's no question that. I don't like that word, but I think it's overused. But it's not overused in Brad Sugars' case. And he totally begins with the end in mind, and he just said, look, if you find me one party to run the UK, I don't like my chances of them being super successful. But if you find me 12 parties, I like my chances of there being one or two great partners in there. And he was absolutely right. Absolutely right. So, I said about that, I got to go on training, and with a bunch of area developers that I'd recruited. When I truly got to see what ActionCOACH had to offer, I had to get a lot more involved, and decided to become one of those parties, and to build a team that was the best in the UK. Having done that, the how the business changed was gradually acquiring more of those regions in the UK. And I think it was a huge change when that got down to one or two parties running the UK. And
I remember.
now it's one. Now it's our team, and it's a lot easier. You haven't got a committee running the UK. If Julie thinks it's a good idea, it happens. So
She's a force of nature, is Jules.
yeah, absolutely. We've got a great person running the UK. I just get to chip in from the side with my ideas from time to time. That's all.
You guys have built a pretty big business, and I think that we'll go on to more of the individual reasons why running a professional service business is great, and then some of the stories you've got there in a bit. But obviously, people listening, you know, we interview various types of individuals on this podcast, and they might be, you know, small practice owners, they could be, you know, international business people, but you guys have grown a pretty large organization in this sector. You know, Action Coach as a whole UK, it's, you know, you've scaled up to somewhere that most people listening to this podcast haven't or even thought about. Did was that kind of scale always in your mind, or did it just happen?
Yeah, look, in my mind is always a lot bigger. So you know, we're a long way away from where we want to be. You know, the big hairy or audacious goal, if you like, the BHAG, as probably the Americans termed it, has always been about putting a business coach into every business in the UK. Now, that doesn't need to be an action business coach, but obviously that would be the best option for the business owner. So, you know, that's a long way off, but I truly believe that can happen.
Yeah.
Truly believe that can happen. You know, it's quite interesting. Chris Fordy has over the years, one of our franchise partners in Harrogate, he's got me into following the Welsh Rugby Union team, and I you know, as somebody who's appreciative of great sporting teams, I loved watching them in the 70s, and I've loved watching them recently as well in recent years, and you know, my fascination with that team and their fan base and the players and stuff. One of the things that I came across was a video, it may still be on the BBC iPlayer, on John Dawes. And John Dawes was a Welsh rugby union player who went to London, and as Welsh people did when they went to London, he joined London Welsh Rugby Union team. And you know, in that documentary, he describes the scenario of rugby clubs and teams across the country, which is, you know, they bonded in the pub, they turned up on match days, and that was it. And you know, he introduced training and coaching into London Welsh, and they became the best team. And then he introduced that into the Welsh national team, and they became the best national team in the world. He also introduced it into the Barbarians as well. But so that's fairly recent in terms of modern history. You know, we're talking 1970s, and I always took that for granted, because you know now my daughter, eldest daughter, played a bit of rugby. She joined Market Bosworth Rugby Union Club, and you know, her under 14 girls team were working with 4 coaches and training twice a week. So this is the norm across sport now.
It is, and I think having done a lot of sport with and without coaches, it's there, and even done business with and without coaching. It's yeah, just having that kind of extra third person to bring your thought space in. So on that point though, so you know, when you guys were starting out and you came into Action Coach, obviously, like, you know, Brad first contacted you, this kind of idea comes about. What made you think, okay, this is it, I can do it? Was there a passion before that? Was there a passion before that, or did it just kind of land on your lap? Like, how did it happen?
Yeah, good question. The honest answer on that is, you know, I wasn't looking for a job. I absolutely wasn't looking for a job. You know, I tried that twice before. I'd after 6 months at Lloyds Bank as a 16-year-old, they sacked me, and that was a horrible experience. You know, going through that and, you know, trying to find another job. I did get another job in a very good company called Pitman Publishing, which became part of Longman Publishing, which became part of the Pearson Group. And I stayed there 14 and a half years, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I still had in this mind, you know, this idea of a job for life. And, you know, it wasn't my idea to sell the business to Linguaphone. We got a new chairman and he viewed direct English as a non-core business and sold it to the Linguaphone Group without having a conversation with me as their business manager. And suddenly I found myself redundant. So I didn't ever want to work for anybody else from that point onwards, and put myself in that position where that can happen. Because the reality is there's one of the most insecure things you've got is a job, I would say. You're in somebody else's hand. In a heartbeat, you can lose your job with somebody else's thoughts. So I've experienced that twice. Didn't want to do that again. I took a break. It really hit my confidence, and I took a year out, travelled for 6 months, and then spent 6 months working on finishing an MBA at Henley Management College, which the Pearson Group had brilliantly invested in for me, and my idea was actually to build a helicopter pleasure flights business and fly stag and hen parties over the Blackpool Tower. I was up in London researching that idea. It was the only time I went to London, that year to date. And on the train for the way home, I bought a copy of the London Evening Standard. I only normally look at the sport, kind of like view news as something that you can't change and it's depressing. And, I like to work with things that are within my control. But love the sport. But for some reason, I just kept on turning the pages. And eventually I came across one advert that Brad Sugar's placed for a general manager for the UK and Ireland in one publication on one day only, and it was that day and that publication.
Right.
So brilliant advert, absolutely brilliant advert. Talk to your local Action business coach about the Action recruitment system. It's amazing. Literally 70% of the time you end up finding somebody that's ideal for the job. I picked up the phone out of curiosity and answered 3 or 4 questions on a telephone answering machine, not knowing whether I'd hear from anybody. And a few days later, I got invited to a group interview, and there were 200 people at the group interview.
Wow!
So it was an unbelievable experience, and kind of got me a bit competitive. Really thinking I've got 199 people to beat here for this job. I like this. So, first of all, I kind of just viewed it as a bit of a competition. And I was pretty pleased when 100 deselected themselves at halftime. They only had 99 to beat. And, I got a one-to-one interview, and I got the job based on my franchising experience. Brad Sugar's just figured that I'd made most of my mistakes on somebody else's payroll. So, so I got the job. I only thought it would be a stepping stone to my helicopter business, pleasure flights business. Thought I'd be doing it for a year or two. And I had no thoughts to it like being long term or anything like that. It was just an interesting challenge for the short term for me. But then when we recruited some area developers, I got to go on the 10-day training, and it's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Josh, how many books do you think I've read? I read on my MBA program from cover to cover in 3.5 years with Henley Management College.
20?
Yeah, good guess. It was actually 15 books,
of course,
from cover to cover. Yeah, and look, 3 of them I didn't understand.
Yeah.
I got comprehension from 12 books and passed my finals for my MBA. Brad Sugar's over the years, he's read something like 3,000 books. And he has a genial ability to take complex books like the ones I couldn't understand on my own MBA program and distill them into 1 or 2 pages that relative simpletons like me can understand and apply in my business, and actually understand well enough to teach other business owners as well and use those resources. So when I caught a glimpse of that on the first couple of days, they did an exercise on day 3 of my training, in the morning of day 3 of my training. And if you haven't done it, and anybody listening to this hasn't done it, I'd strongly recommend you do it, which was just to have a little think about what you want somebody to say in your eulogy.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm quite a visual person. I ended up drawing a gravestone, and I ended up writing, here lies Ian James Christelow, the 10th of May 1969 to the 11th of May 2070. Because of what he did, every business owner in the UK became aware of Action Coach, which is something which kills the disease, if you like, that kills businesses, and that for me is business ignorance. So I made it my lifetime mission to make sure that every business owner in the UK becomes aware of this, because I suddenly felt a huge responsibility to do that. The truth of the matter is that over 250,000 business owners every year in the UK are losing their business, and when that happens, they lose their dream, their business, their livelihoods, all of their money, maybe the ability to pay the mortgage, and if that happens, and they didn't know Action Coach existed and was a solution for them, then I think that's on me.
That's amazing.
So I don't sleep too well, because we're a long way off every UK business owner knowing this exists. Because you're close enough to Action Coach to know that our clients don't go out of business.
Yeah.
Not even in the recession, the pandemic, not even in hospitality sectors and stuff, just doesn't happen. And for all those business owners every year in the UK losing everything they've got because they didn't know this exists, it's we've got to stop this from being the biggest kept secret in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that's awesome. Like, people hearing that will, I think the key learning from that is like the passion that you guys have has seen you build a very large company in not that long period of time. And I'm sure that along the way there was a lot of pain and actually, before we go on to the individual coach and practice and just really stuff, like, what was, if you had to do the whole thing again, what would you do differently? Is there anything that you'd pick out as doing differently?
Look, not majorly. I think where I've gone right, and where I did better than other area developers in the UK and around the world, actually, it is that I've always hired the best people. So I've always hired way better than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm stupid, but I'm not stupid in that regard, kind of thing. So I do appreciate that people like Julie Wagstaff, James Vincent, Laura Forburn, amazing people. They do. I could list the entire team that we've got in the UK. They do a much better job than I could do in what they do, and probably should list the whole team, because they deserve every credit they get. We've got people like Craig Jackson and his team building amazing strategic alliances with Vodafone and Lloyds Bank and Santander, and all these things that are actually putting Action Coach in front of hundreds of thousands of business owners. So it's starting to take shape, and I come up with an idea from time to time, and luckily for me, because it would never get completed, finished, and never be done well if it was on me. But I've got a team that can make that happen. If anybody's curious to find out a little bit more about what Action Business Growth could do for a business that they work in or own in the UK, have a look at our brand new TV series on
Yeah,
Amazon
absolutely. Yeah.
Prime Video, Business as Unusual. And hey, look, if you think more people need to know about that, while you're there, please do give it a review, because the more 5-star reviews that gets, the more chance there is of a second season. And I view this thing as Josh, as one of, I've never met a UK business owner that hasn't watched Dragon's Den,
Mhm.
isn't familiar with the concept of Dragon's Den. Whether they like it or not, that's a different question. But they all know what it's about. They've all watched it at least once. And if we can get Business as Unusual running every year in the UK, you wind it forwards 10 years, then every business owner in the UK knows this exists. And I can sleep at night.
Phenomenal concept, actually. The idea of that you see like these property makeovers all the time, like, and everyone loves it. Kitchen nightmares with Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
Like, actually, the difference over 6-12 months with a coach, if they film that, and that's an interesting concept for a lot of people actually listening. You like record your journeys with your clients, and obviously you guys are lucky enough to have had a series put on Amazon, which is incredible to say the least. And then I've watched it; it's awesome. And obviously, anyone listening, just go and watch that. It'll help you. Even if you are an accountant, or you are a lawyer, or you are, a specific consultant. Everyone's doing the same thing in reality. You're all solving solutions within an organization. I think that Ian and his teams, why they do that is vital, and they're doing an amazing job. So, Ian, look, a lot of people on this call, on this listening to this podcast, they are individuals who may be stuck. They may be doing well. You've scaled an organization in this industry to amazing heights. If Ian Christelow had to start a practice on his own, what would you do? Tell me how you go about it.
Well, look, for starters, I've never started on my own.
Exactly.
Number one, I would hire an action business coach. Number one. Number two, I would hire the best person possible to help me develop that. You see, I don't believe you can do anything like truly great on your own. Really don't. And have a look at your skill set. Because going from 1 to 2 people working full time in the business is a massive difference. So I got that piece right. I was a chartered management accountant previously, and so I very little, if any, experience in sales and marketing, and so my first hire was, I remember sitting down with my brother who put a 50% investment into the business to help us get off the ground, because banks wouldn't lend to ActionCOACH day one. We just brainstormed it on a piece of paper. It's like, who do we need to be inviting to this group interview? And everybody possible that we could think of. And actually, when we went through the exercise and we looked down the list, there was one person that we wanted in that role, and I made her apply and come to the group interview and that kind of stuff, and compete for it. So I wanted her to value the position, but my opinion didn't change in the recruitment process. She was absolutely perfect for the role, and then it's a case of, okay, what can you do to throw everything at this to get her involved? Her name was Sally Thorne, and she was working up in the Northwest, and we were based in East Anglia. And it's like, okay, we'll base our office in East Anglia as close to the Northwest as we can get. So that's why we started in Cambridge. We'll pay as much as we can, but obviously cash flow that. So explain that the pay a survival amount as a base salary, and have at least like 2/3 of earnings on performance if the person performs.
Mhm.
So, she took a massive salary cut to come and work for us, but had the opportunity to earn more than she was earning in the Northwest. We structured it like that. I think that's important to get somebody that's driven by bonuses and get the best possible people in.
I agree.
So yeah, I'd do those things.
Good.
Probably, if I had my time again, I would have got out of home office day one.
Interesting.
Yeah. We went 3 months where we were working this from our homes, from our kitchens and dining rooms, kind of thing, and we didn't make a sale in the first 3 months.
Mhm.
I'm pretty certain that was connected. So we should have got into a serviced office earlier. And I
Yeah.
think serviced offices work really, really well for new businesses. We chose Regis, and it's just cool, to have your signage up, to have a full-time receptionist there, and a nice setting to meet people in.
It makes you feel
I think
good,
that's really cool.
and it makes, because a lot of these professional service industries, they are relationship based companies, right? And it is about how and where you can build your relationships. Thank you, Ian. I mean, look, we're running out of time, but I wanted to just quickly talk about Action Coaches briefly. I know that obviously a lot of people on this call are in the professional services industry. Action Coach are doing a lot of work at the moment with membership programs and actually working with various established consultancies, accounting firms, all sorts of stuff to partner with Action Coach as a franchisee. Do you want to talk about something around that and how the franchise works with partnering with other practices?
Yeah. Again, I think the first thing to say on that is when I started, we only really had one solution, which was weekly business coaching, and the investment level for that, started at £1,000 a month, and so it was a significant amount of money for a small business owner, 22 years ago, albeit cheaper than hiring a receptionist, and obviously brings a lot more to the business in terms of helping it grow. But what's happened over the last 22 years is our product ladder's evolved, and anybody can get involved in this now. Anybody, right the way from literally like very, very token amounts per month, like 100 quid a month, but maybe less in some cases. We've got a full suite of products and programs that can help, and immense wealth of resources, and our coaches guarantee success. If you're investing a significant amount in the program, and you're committed to it, and you do what you say you're going to do each week, we're willing to guarantee that program will make you money, that you'll get a return on investment, or we'll refund you double the difference. So I would say look up who your local Action business coach is, and get in touch, and go and meet. There's nothing to lose on that. It's not for everybody. People that come to our seminars, even business owners that come to our seminars, only about 10% become clients, become members of Action Coach, but 100% learn something in that process. They walk away with value.
Yeah.
So go along, see whether it's for you. Go meet your Action Coach, and see if they've got a solution that can help you. But at the very least, it's going to be a good investment in your time, because you'll learn something in that.
Yeah, we all need to learn more, and Action Coach has been there and done it, guys. So education is probably one of the continually and probably will be forever be one of the most important things. And there might be some people listening on the call where you're out on your own, you've got to practice, and you're missing that community environment, you're missing the kind of economies of scale that comes with a large company. And I would say from my own personal experience, having had these coaches, they make a big impact. And if you are missing your why and you want a community, then that conversation is worth a conversation. And equally, if you have a business and you have a client base and you think, how else can we help this client base? Action Coach, you've got some amazing options that will allow you to do that. So thanks so much for coming on, Ian. I know we've only had a little chat, but it's been great to hear your story a bit more depth. It's always interested me kind of hearing about how you got off the ground.
Yeah, and look, good last point there, Josh. The value of getting yourself into this community is huge.
Yeah.
You'll do business with our community. You immerse yourself and give back to our community and get involved. You'll do business with our community. You'll make savings. The value, if you like, outside of our programs, there's immense value in that community. And being in business can be a bit of a lonely business. To be talking on a regular basis with like-minded people that want to grow their business and want to achieve their goals and dreams. That's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening to the Consultancy Corner. If you have any comments, then please leave them in the comment boxes. Any questions, we can forward them over to Ian. I'm sure we'll be happy to ask. And I'll leave the contact details for the team at Action Coach so anyone can get involved if they like. Ian, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Josh. Have a great week.